Hi everyone, my name is Dina Babel and I'm the voice of Fatherless Daughters. Today in Reality Check, I wanted to talk about something very serious, which is the subject of suicide. About 7,000 to 12,000 children will lose a parent to suicide every year. In the news and the media right now, there's a lot of talk about Aaron Hernandez, the crimes that he may or may not have committed, and the ultimate suicide that we are thinking he committed. A very disheartening part of this whole media coverage is the lack of discussion about suicide itself, and most importantly about the daughter that was left behind. Her name is AVL and she's 4 years old. I learned about her more last night when I was looking at the show Dr. Phil did with AVL's mother. You can tell she's still in shock. She very much loved her family and did not feel that Aaron was showing any signs of suicidal ideation. For her, she thought that he was okay and that he was looking forward to coming home to her and her daughter. Because he did possibly commit suicide, this is going to leave a lot of questions for this little girl and obviously for this mother who is left to take care of her and try to make sure that she goes on to have a very thriving life. 25% of us have a mental disease and a mental illness. About 50% of us will have an episode of mental illness in our lifetime. Unfortunately, suicide happens more with men, usually between the age of 25 and 65. Many of us think that suicide is something that is that the person gives us signs about. They were depressed leading up to it. They gave away their little trinkets or their favorite collection, or they left behind a letter, or there was something that we could have done. Maybe the last phone call, we didn't catch it. The last Christmas or holiday, we should have been there for them. We should have spent more time with them. A lot of times there's no way to know. Aaron Hernandez's girlfriend said that their last phone call was very normal. And he said, "Look, babe, I gotta go, they're closing the gate." She had no idea that this was gonna take place. I think in Aaron's case, as in a lot of suicides, is he felt maybe in that moment leading up to it that this was a good solution for his daughter, that he was the burden. Maybe he wasn't going to be around for her physically, but he felt like he could be there for her financially. He said in the suicide note, "You're rich." So he could have felt like this is a way he could continue to take care of his daughter. No matter what the issue is, the little girl is going to go through life without her father. She's going to wonder lots of questions. Could I have done something? Did he love me enough? Why wasn't I enough to make him stay? She's going to wonder if she has the gene. Would she commit suicide? Is that her fate? There's going to be lots of questions through her journey of fatherlessness. And it's something that we touch on some in our book, The Fatherless Daughter Project, Understanding Our Losses and Reclaiming Our Lives. But what I want the fatherless daughters out there to know whose parent did commit suicide, or the mothers that are raising them, that it's best to fill in the gaps. Keep the pictures around, keep the conversations going. Don't abort the conversation because you feel like it's going to bring pain to your daughter. She needs to fill in the gaps. Obviously, you want to do it as she ages and when she's emotionally and mentally prepared for this. For AVL, she's just 4 years old. She is just learning how to kick a ball, put a sentence together. She doesn't really understand the difference between fantasy and reality. So I've put together a couple of ideas for this little girl and for all of you out there that may have dealt with the same thing. One thing that I'd like to talk about is books. Books are always great. So there's a great book. It's called No Matter What by Debbie Galore. The second one is What's Heaven by the wonderful Maria Shriver and Sandra Spiedel. And then the last one is I Miss You by Pat Thomas. Those are three great books for children who are dealing with the loss of a parent. The last thing that I would say is Option B, which is a new book by Sheryl Sandberg, which talks a lot about the journey that she has gone through in her own grief and trying to find joy around that grief and moving on and trying to thrive through life. And option B, she talks lots about her and a guy, Adam, who is also, I can't remember his last name, I'm sorry, who is also an author of the book, talk a lot about statistics and give you lots of pointers about how to deal with the pain of losing a parent. The last thing I want to say is if you're grappling with suicide thoughts yourself, you're feeling depressed, or have you considered ways you would do it or things you've thought about, it's important to know the suicide hotline. It is 1-800-273-8255. I'd like to say that being a fatherless daughter is a really tough life. It is feeling left behind, and I think when there's trauma with it, such as suicide, or in my case, crime that is still unsolved, there's lots of questions. And this girl cannot get through her life until she puts together some of the answers and fills in the gaps. So I hope this helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, please reach out to a therapist, a counselor, a friend, a family member, a coach, or someone that can mentor you through this moment or this season in your life. Remember, fatherlessness is a journey, but we're here to do it with you. If you have any questions, please check us out at DenaBabel.com, DENNABABUL.com. Thanks.